Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, committee members. I'm grateful to be here before you today with Senate File 3. This is a comprehensive democracy bill that defends, strengthens, and modernizes Minnesota's best traditions of voter participation, of sound elections administration and trusted local elections officials, of transparent government, and of grassroots campaigns and voter and local donor support. This package of common sense solutions rests on the premise that our state works best when Minnesotans' voices are at the center of our democracy. All Minnesotans benefit: Black, brown, Indigenous, white, Metro, Greater Minnesota, rich and poor, Democrats, Republicans, independents, and those with no party at all. We all benefit when Minnesota voters, not corporations or national forces, are at the center of our democratic process. We have certainly seen our democracy tested in the last few years. We've seen a rising climate of disinformation and rhetoric and fears of intimidation. Threats and intimidation of voters and election officials has been on the rise across the country. And we just passed the 2-year anniversary of the deadly insurrection and attack on our Capitol, the dangerous consequences of the rise of disinformation and harassment targeting our elections. This last election also highlighted the problems Minnesotans have been asking the legislature to tackle for years. Ever more money in our elections, dominated more by big donors and outside spending. Since Citizens United a decade ago, there's been an explosion of spending by outside groups, by independent expenditures that are not accountable to the voters or the candidates.
Sorry, can you pull the mic a little closer?
Yes,
so that,
certainly.
Thank you, that's much better.
By independent expenditures that are not accountable to the voters or the candidates, and in many cases, voters and candidates may not even know who's funding them. So this bill responds to the urgent and the overdue, with reforms to make our system more accessible to Minnesotans in 3 ways. First, it defends voters and strengthens the freedom to vote for Minnesotans. It modernizes and expands voter registration with automatic voter registration and allows 16 and 17-year-olds to pre-register so they are on the rolls when they turn 18. And it ensures equitable access to opportunities to vote early, absentee, and in person. With these provisions in place, our dedicated elections officials will have the tools and resources they need to ensure that every eligible Minnesotan can confidently cast their ballot and vote in safe, secure, and smooth elections. Second, it protects Minnesota voters and our democratic institutions. It includes a strong provision to protect voters and election officials and election volunteers from intimidation and harassment. It also provides Minnesota voters the instructions and support they need to vote in the language they need it. And third, it empowers Minnesota voters, not corporations, in our elections. It closes dark money loopholes and increases transparency, as well as prohibits foreign influence corporations from spending money in our elections. So in closing, Mr. Chair and members, this is a critical moment in our democracy. When democracy was squarely on the ballot in 2022, Minnesotans of every race, generation, region, and background turned out not just to cast their vote, but to protect it. Voters sent a powerful message. They reject the extremism and efforts to undermine our democracy and want us to take action to protect democracy and ensure that all people have a say in the decisions that impact their lives.